Okay, welcome once again to Philosophy Online Lecture. Today we'll be looking at philosophy of law, and in this uh, audio visual, we're going to be understanding the concept of law and then the nature of law. Okay, so philosophy of law has to do with philosophy looking into the entire body of law and legal systems. The goal of law, which is to achieve justice. How is this achieved? What is the relationship between law and morality? What is law itself? Okay, so that is what philosophy goes into this discipline to look at. It is not going into it to erase their idea or condemn it, but looking into every critical aspect of it. Okay, so now when we want to define law, we can define law in two aspects: in the prescriptive sense and in the descriptive sense. In the prescriptive sense, law can be defined as any order or command emanating from a legislative authority meant to regulate human behavior. Okay, so you see, meant to regulate human behavior, that is to prescribe how we ought to act and behave in certain circumstances and what we ought not to do. Okay, so this is law in the prescriptive sense, and it applies to humans alone. Okay, because it presupposes rationality and freedom, and it is only humans that are rational and free. Okay, rationality in the sense that we can think and act. You can't say this is a law, a prescriptive law for animals, that dogs, you made a law that dogs should act in this certain way. No, because they lack rationality. Okay, and also freedom in the sense that humans are free to either choose to obey the law or not. Okay, so the law in the prescriptive sense does not erase our freedom. Okay, so moving quickly, law in the descriptive sense has to do with uh, observations about the regularity at which things happen in the universe under certain circumstance. Okay, so I will explain this. For example, the law of gravity is an observation about the fact that anything that goes up will surely come down. Okay, so it is a law of gravity. Okay, so we have law of motion, so we have various laws like that. Okay, so when they are observed, they are written down, and then they are seen as a law of how things happen uniformly in the universe under certain circumstance. Okay, so moving further, in the prescriptive sense of law, human law, we have municipal law, and a municipal law is that which is established by the authority or from customs of a given community. Okay, so like this is what Yoruba people are expected to do, like Omoluabi, she gets. So of a given community, it is established by a given community, or let's say an organization, okay, like that of philosophy students. Okay, so municipal law is an aspect of human law. Okay, so we have customary law, international law, and so on. And scientific law is an aspect of the descriptive law, like law of gravity is uh, you know uh, like a scientific law. Okay, so from observations she get. So that is that on the concept of law. Now let's move quickly to the nature of law. Okay, so when we talk about the nature of law, we are talking about what is the essential feature of law, what is law based on, what is the foundation of law. Okay, what is the goal, is the relationship with morality. And the argument on the nature of law was argued by two schools: the empirical school, who are the legal positivists, and the metaphysical school, who are the advocate for the natural law. Okay, so the legal positives are those who believe that law shouldn't be based on the merit that is gotten from it, or maybe a moral implication. It should be based on a state authority, and it must be enforced. Okay, so the natural law are the advocate that law are the law of reason. They are universal, they are eternal, and it is naturally known by man. Okay, so let's look at their various points of scholars, and then we are going to look at what is actually the nature of law. Okay, so now firstly, Immanuel Kant held that law must be viewed from a priori. You know, a priori has to do with rationality, common sense, okay, and not what is observed, which is posteriori. Okay, so Immanuel Kant said that law must be viewed from a priori, and it should be based on rationality and reason rather than arbitrary wish of those in power, like the legal positivists hold. Okay, so in the natural law of Immanuel Kant, there should be the rule of law. Nobody should be above the law. Everybody is equal before the law, and rationality takes precedence. Okay, now the people must be aware of the laws. Okay, so the legal positivists disagree with the point, and however, positivism has failed to give a satisfactory account of what law is due to its empirical approach. Okay, so can we make law based on our observation, or based law on written documents because it is written? Eh, that is why we have to base our law and judgment on those things. Okay, so if we do this, are we always going to accommodate natural rights and justice? Because the written document cannot always contain things that protect our natural rights always. Okay, so like the argument on abortion. Okay, so a constitution might forbid it, but naturally it could be something that is detrimental to human, and a constitution might allow it, and naturally it also could cause uh, sexual abuse and fornication. Okay, so this is why the legal positivist position is limited, because their empirical approach do not always cover the natural rights and justice. Okay, so when natural rights and justice are not achieved with the legal positivists, right, it goes to the point that natural law is takes precedence because it protects our natural rights and help us seek for natural justice. But let's take a look at the position of legal positivists. Okay, now Jeremy Bentham was a British philosopher and legal theorist. He was a an advocate for legal positivism. Okay, so he advocated for written laws, and that these laws must be written and be clear, that is known by people. Okay, and they must be enforced. Okay, so you know the inventor, when we did ethics, he is a utilitarian normative ethics advocate. Okay, so the greatest happiness for the greatest number of people. Okay, so this influenced his idea on law too. Okay, so he argued that laws are commands that must be enforced and backed up with sanctions and penalties. Okay, so written laws that are backed up by penalties, that is, every law should have an implication. Okay, so by so by that statement, Bentham was criticized for, because if you say that every a law is a command that is backed up by sanction, that means anybody can make a law. That means a thief can make a law and call it a law, because if you do not obey a thief, you could be harmed. Okay, now Jeremy Bentham also had okay, there was another person, sorry, Austin was also a legal positivist. Okay, he argued that rules must be followed by a process of command and obedience, and when they are not obeyed, there should be punishment for that disobedience. So it's more like that of Jeremy Bentham. Okay, so these are the positions of legal positivists. Okay, now another scholar, H.L. Hart, He was a British legal philosopher too. Uh, okay, before I talk about HL Art, let's take a look at Kelsen. Now, Kelsen said that laws are essentially a system of law. Laws are essentially a system of norms that derives their validity from each other. Okay, so this law derives its validity from another in within the same system. Okay, now this is uh, the legal system to Kelsen, right? So he said that each law derives their validity from another within the same system. Now, in answer that in this there's various laws in the same legal system. The whole legal system itself derives its validity from a system that is outside the entire legal system, and that system is called the grand norm. That is, the entire legal system is now based or is sourced from the grand norm, which is the foundation. Now, the fault in this position of Kelsen is that for you to say that the entire legal system derives its validity from something outside, you are also going back to a metaphysical aspect of the basis of law. And going back to the metaphysical aspect, you are indirectly saying that the natural law is the foundation. Okay, now Art now avoided his mistake. I said Art was a British legal philosopher. Art avoided Kelsen mistake by saying that the entire legal system is not validated by something outside the system, but validated by rules of recognition. That is, it is validated by the fact that people recognize that this is the law, and we have accepted it, and so we are subject to it. So as long as people accept that we are subject to this law, then the position of legal positivist, or the written constitution rather, takes precedence. Okay, so it is validated by the rules of recognition to HL Art. Please take note of this little vital point. Okay, so now going back to the nature of law, can we say that sanction and command are the essential feature of law? No. Okay, because we have seen that if we say it is by that, that means anybody can make law. Okay, so those sanctions are only meant to protect the law so that people will not disobey it, but it is not the essential feature of law. Okay, and we cannot also say that the nature of law is based on the legal system, because law is beyond just a legal system. Okay, there are other aspects too. Okay, so we cannot say it is based on the legal system rather. Okay, so now what is the essential feature of law? The essential feature of law therefore is the obligation in laws. Okay, and this obligation has a moral nature, and this moral nature is derived from the natural law. Now let me explain. You see, there is no law without an obligation, and every law has an obligation to act rightly and avoid what is wrong. That is a moral nature. Okay, so this moral nature has to do with the natural law, because there are things that anything that has to do with we having an idea that this is good and this is bad. There are things that are natural to us. Okay, so it's the obligation in every law has a moral nature, and this moral nature is derived from the natural law. So law is inseparable from morality. It is, they cannot separate it. Okay, like Elf Fuller said it. He said that law has its own inner morality and inner conditions it must fulfill. Okay, so we see that morality is a key aspect of law. Okay, so it is the nature of law, that is the obligations in every law, okay, that has to do with morality. Okay, so any law that separates itself from this foundation of the natural law provision is seen as a naked command or a tyrannical law, okay? Because a law that does not have respect for morality, that does not have respect for the rights of humans, is tyrannical, okay? So we cannot deny the moral aspect of law. Thank you so much.